So, firstly, like Diggu just said, that now since that everyone can buy a car, I think the next best thing for me to say would be, I am here to give you an insurance. so, right. So let's get back to the topic. What I would do is maybe just take you through what I have been doing, what my journey was, and then we'll dive deep into InsurTech. I have done a bit of fintech on asset liability management systems, and then a bit more on mutual funds, bullion golds, and even stocks. Eventually, starting my own startup in insurance, InsurTech, build chatbots and different workflows, AI-driven customer journeys, so that the customer can get a 1 minute, 2-click insurance. We'll talk about that in the coming slides. So, firstly, when you talk about any kind of tech industry impact, it is important to understand who your customer is, what exactly the customer is expecting to, what are their needs and what are their wants, right? Because it is very difficult to differentiate between, from a customer perspective, it is difficult to differentiate between what exactly a customer wants and what exactly a customer needs. Both things will be very, very drastically different. This is something that I have experienced and learned during my journey. I am basically an electrical engineer who just got thrown into startup ecosystem because of my interest in figuring out how exactly a company works, and eventually going through I would say 4 to 5 years of insurtech journey through my startup, and then eventually working with Tata AIG for almost 2 years now. Um, so in the journey, like where exactly insurance started, right? Initially, everybody was talking about like giving Excel sheets or Excel models to insure. Okay. Initially, I basically started when I started looking at insurances. It was basically you an insurance company basically gives your Excel models to the company, to their agents, brokers, and then the broker basically gives you a pricing and gets you the insurance. Today, it is kind of moving towards where you give APIs to the brokers. The brokers also want to give a better experience to the customer, give them uh, like empower the customer to do it yourself, because the expectation of the customers have changed today. Like insurance, which is still not a pull product, it is still a push product where people are pushing insurance to you. Apart from, you can say, car insurance, because it's just mandatory, right? So people still, just to avoid that challan and traffic police, you basically buy insurance, but still it is not perceived that it is that important. If you look at health or life or any other insurances, let's say for even today, gadget insurances are coming in, even pet insurance and other insurances, which are very common in your um, US and European markets, right? So that is the scenario. So today the customers are quite more interested. Like, how do you define? Like, what do you look at your customer? How do you look at your customers today? Customers are making decisions like whether I want to. From a millennial perspective, you can figure out that people are discussing on asset creation versus experience, right? Do you people are more interested in getting experience today than asset creation, right? Then there is also another aspect of healthy living, right? So people are more interested in that than personalization, than even convenience, and then renting over buying, right? So these are different characteristics, and which have changed from like the previous generation to the millennials, and then even towards Gen Z, right? So based on this, your innovations basically come into place, and then you can see the impact of these innovations in business. So like in any kind of product sales journey, or let's say a product life cycle journey, when it comes to insurance, it is your pre-sales, then your sales, and then it becomes service, which is post sales, right? So there can be innovations done in all the three segments, and insurance companies and even other startups, insurtechs, which are basically helping insurance companies to build these things, are coming into place and really trying to make a difference here. So without rambling much about this, let me just get back to slides, and maybe we can just take things. Okay. Can you? Okay, I'll move to the next slide. Yeah. So how exactly my insurtech journey started? I was just coming out of my e-commerce business, and at that point of time, just thinking about what to do next. At that point of time, Satya Nadella's conference was there, and I couldn't attend it though, but I was just going through it on YouTube online, similar to this kind of setup. And Satya Nadella basically talked about like pretty much everything today, right? Which is being built, who is building applications, let's say even desktop or mobile apps or any or websites, right? Will be building bots as their new interface. That was his comment, and kind of like that really um, kind of like it kind of synced with me. Okay, this is something very interesting. And at that point of time, I was also looking at US markets where Lemonade was trying to do something interesting in insurance space, and they had a persona. Maybe we can't call it a chatbot, but it was more like you're talking to someone on a website, and it was a persona driven kind of flow. And that kind of clicked, and I kind of me with my co-founders basically thought that okay, this is something that we want to do and we want to try it out. And this is how RB came into place, right? So we had our own insurance portal where we were web aggregators. We, yeah, built our own chatbot where we try to source products, convince them with some sort of data analysis, like okay, let's say what, this is your location, in your location this is the kind of cost that you would bear if you get hospitalized. So this is the basic amount of coverage that you should have in insurance policy. So and so forth, right? So that's how the insurtech journey started. I, who did not know anything about insurance, got into insurance and started loving the product. Initially, I just thought that innovation was the way to go about it. But then once you start getting deeper into the system, you understand there are different um, sections in an insurance business where innovations can be done, and you really need to figure out where do you want to go and fight that battle, right? So I'll take you through what kind of blocks are there. So like basically, you have different kind of sections. One is distribution. There's a lot of innovation which can be done from a distributor perspective. Then you have customer experience, which is like traditionally most of your insurance was sold through agents, then your brokers. It was majorly offline, right? So customer experience was just someone who was talking to you, right? I mean, the agent used to give you the experience what he can. Now you are lucky you get a good agent, you are unlucky you just get a bad agent, and you don't click, right? So this kind of, the agent might not be able to personify things for you, right? Okay, this is what your requirement. Sometimes he might not be able to understand, or might just tell you about the product rather than understanding you. So you are less in control and the agent is more in control. So kind of finding out the right balance when you are doing a sale, right? The customer should not feel in out of control, but also should be in control. I mean, you have to manage that experience in some way or the other. So that is a place where people are working on personalizing the content that is coming on the website. And then even if you have a customer coming back after purchasing other products, you can again personify a different sales product for him, a cross sell product for him, and give him that kind of experience, and feel and make him feel more involved in the whole purchase process, and make him part of your brand community, be it Tata AG, be it anyone, right? And then obviously data is something that has uh, a very big impact today, because you have a lot of customer data coming in, getting that sense out of data, and then giving insights on the data and making use of those insights to either improve your product, improve your experience, improve your processes, even your claim settlements. Those kind of things are very important. So capturing those data and insights is something, one of the building blocks, where there are insurtechs which are coming in, and we need people to think about it in that direction, right? And finally, yes, I mean, new products is definitely there. I mean, because customers are getting more and more digital savvy. Digital customers have different kind of expectations from an insurance company, right? Hello. Hello?
Ashwin, hi.
Can you hear me?
Can you see me here? Can you hear
Yes, I
me?
can hear you.
Yes, perfect. We lost you in between.
Yeah, I think I got a disconnection error, and then
Yeah,
again,
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. We've got you back. Please continue.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So I was talking about new products. So like your digital customers have a different kind of expectation. Their experience is different. Um, like I mean, somebody who is coming on the website and purchasing a product would not really want to do things offline until and unless it is very important. Like I mean, from let's say from a claim settlement perspective, people will not really want to download a form, fill it, and then take it or courier it somewhere. Rather, if you can just make it as simple as buying insurance on your mobile phone, right? So those kind of products where and again, like coming back to what customer today's customers behaviors are, right? Like somebody is like renting over owning, or like buying or purchasing. So pay as you drive, like pay as you use kind of products, right? I mean, when I'm using, I want to pay for it. Like, I mean, I don't really want to keep paying for it, because also other factor is where customers or users look at is instant gratification. If I'm doing something, I need to get something out of it. Initially we were just forced in, I mean, parents were forcing it. So one of the life insurance or term insurance policy used to come into our bucket, right? Same happened with me. My first policy was life insurance policy with LIC. I'm still sticking with it because my father forced me to do it. But now I'm moving towards term insurance because this is what something I want to go for. So like the new products are definitely something which the younger or the millennials or digital users can relate to, right? So these kind of products will really help. And national health stack is a port of is a I mean part of, let's say, data driven decisions, or even you can call it as a record, right? A record where customers can safely store their health records and eventually can share their records based on their consent with an insurer or with somebody else, and based on that can get better price. So kind of like the fifth point is kind of like falls into 3 and 4 partially. The like I mean, it can help you into just getting better products based on the data that can be shared. There are some open data sets which are being discussed, which will be shared with people. Basically, insights over the data, not the customer specific data, but that insights can help you in understanding what products do we want to tweak, where do we want to tweak, what are the customer demands, or where exactly the claims are coming in. All this information can and start flowing, and we can improve our products. And this can even help, let's say you have an ICICI Lombard policy, right? And let's say you want to port to Reliance, Tata AIG, anyone. At that point of time, if you already have a data set which is there on, let's say, health stack, right? And a data set, and anybody and other, you give a consent to another insurer that here is my data, you can look into it, and I just want to put with you guys because you are giving me a better service, or I hope that you would give me a better service, right? So based on that, the porting would become easier. So there are a lot of things which are happening in the insurance industry today, which are helping and impacting the existing processes and improving them, right? So let me just jump to distribution and processing. How is distribution and processing changing, right? So embedded insurance. So when you sell insurance, it is very important that you be present at the right place at the right time, right? So this is where embedded insurance comes into play. Like let's say you must have seen um, purchased anything on Make My Trip, Go Ibibo, and at that point of time, you'll see a small line with a tick option, buy travel insurance. So this is kind of like an example of embedded insurance. A customer, there is a high chance of a customer buying a travel insurance if you are present at the right place, which is when he's purchasing or planning for the trip. At that point of time, he understands that his flight could get delayed and there could be impact on his travel plans. At that point of time, just the customer tries to weigh pros and cons in terms of, okay, it's 199, it will also cover me for this, and then there's a probability that the customer will purchase your insurance along with his travel plans, or whatever itinerary he is planning, right? So that becomes easier. That's an easy sell, right? Rather than now think about it this way: you are buying your travel tickets on Make My Trip, and then you go to an insurance website, then you search, or let's say instead of going for insurance website, most probably you'll go to Google and search for travel insurance plans. You'll get 10, 30, 15 plans, right? I mean, and then you will start researching. Eventually, you might just say that, okay, I don't really want to buy insurance right now. Maybe the next time. So, like here, this is where you can play and give such kind of embedded insurance where the customer can quickly make a decision without any need of filling in additional information, because he has already given that information for the primary sale which is happening on that particular website, app, or wherever. So this kind of like is helping or improving the sales process in these kind of distributions. Offline sales and online activations is another way of it. I think this is, yeah, this has just started. I would say this is majorly being used in in let's say European markets, majorly let's say home and renters insurance, where you just buy an home insurance, and then as and when you keep on purchasing products, you just open your mobile app, just take a click of your of the newly purchased photo, and activate it, and you get charged uh, in the next month for it, right? So these kind of are the monthly plans where you can, the sale could potentially happen at a bank's end, where you are just buying your house. Eventually, when you end up buying assets in your house, you can keep on activating those assets and adding insurance to it. So this is one another way of distribution where people are innovating, right? And here the innovation is like identifying the product. Whenever you click the asset, the image processing basically identifies the asset, tries to map it with your existing data sets, tries to assign a value to it, and on the basis of that, charge premium to you. So instead of asking you to fill too much amount of data, or asking you too many invoices and other things, they just ask you to click a photograph, and you're done with it. The other thing is, which is standard, I think, if any one of you would have missed your car insurance renewal, you would have faced this, right? So where uh, let's say as soon as the car insurance expires, your case basically falls into a break-in category. That's what we call an insurance, where your insurance is lapsed and now you again want to reinsure your car. At that point of time, there is an inspection required. So initially, inspection was being done by physically an inspection person going to the user or the customer, then doing and physically inspecting the whole car, and then figuring out, okay, whether this is doable, and creating a report and sending it to the underwriter, then the underwriter approving it eventually. But today you have image processing, you have self inspection which is being built, right? So more or less every insurance company has today a different ways of doing self inspection. Some are doing video inspections, where there is somebody else who is sitting in the back end and is taking decisions, and there are some people who are just asking for photos, identifying few small damages here and there, and for large and if they don't find any, they auto approve these things. So your AI, ML, image processing, all these things are also coming into play, and reducing the TAT of such kind of insurance policies. So this is more improvement from a process perspective. And once your process becomes simpler, it becomes easier for your distribution channels also to sell it more, right? So this way, your distribution can also improve, your processes improve, your manpower decreases, cost decreases, and it's more of a win-win situation for everyone. Customer gets to save on time, and instead of waiting, can get the insurance quickly in few minutes or hours, right? So coming back to knowing our customer, right? So like, I mean, today your customers interact when it comes to insurance company. There are multiple channels. There are bank insurance company sales insurance through banks, through distributors, through your distributors, like partners, brokers, agencies. Now a same customer, think of this scenario where a same customer is coming to, oh, let's say an agency channel, where he purchases your insurance, and then the same customer comes to your website and purchases maybe another insurance, let's say travel, right? So it's the same customer, but you might not be able to identify that customer, that this is the same customer, and you might not know what the customer's preferences are, and what kind of experience the customer is looking for, let's say in terms of languages, or let's say in terms of let's say calls, what is happening, right? So those things are very important. And like you try to reach out to this customer in automated voice calls, right? Because of COVID, what has happened is people don't really like getting calls, because you are already on so many virtual calls, and then somebody calls you, you just disconnect it. So, right, so when do you try to reach out this customer? Use of chatbots, use of automated calls is helping the customers, right? And for this to happen, you also build a customer 360 view, so that wherever the customer comes to you and touch bases with you, right, on different channels, you still are able to give him a similar experience, or identify that you are there, right? I mean, let's say you can you connect with my website, and then you connect with me with me as in my brand on WhatsApp, and the WhatsApp says, "Hey Ashwin, welcome back." That becomes like a very good experience, and you want to be associated with such kind of brands which really care for you, right? So these kind of things, or experience and personalization, is something that is being innovated on, and kind of like people are seeing good results from this. Sorry, I'll have to run a bit quickly. I'll just wrap this up with data driven decisions. So this is again claims perspective, right? So in terms of claims, let's say identify, similar to pre-inspection, there you're just trying to identify whether the vehicle is damaged or not. Here people are trying to identify what the damage, what is the cost estimate of the damage based on the existing data, and then giving some sort of cost estimates where you think, okay, this is feasible and done with high accuracy. This is one of the parts where claim education is something that is being worked on, and people are trying to do. So image recognition, damage detection on this. And again, when you talk about image detection, it also helps you in fraud detection. Let's say same image is being used for claiming twice, or let's say another car's image is used in your claim for to file a fraudulent claim. So identification of such kind of damages, and using image I mean image recognition to identify whether two photos are identical vehicles, or they are identical photos, is something that is being worked on, and is being put to test in some sections and some scenarios. Similarly, sentiment analysis to understand your customers' feedbacks and queries, and then making your product better and making your processes better wherever required. I'm running a bit short. I think I took too much time. I'll just last is more on product side. As I mentioned, like people are looking for pay as you drive solutions. Like whenever pay as you use, you just want to quickly go for a drive, or let's say you in monsoons you don't drive, so you don't really want to pay for insurance. So there are new products which are being worked on. Even the regulator has given approvals on such kind of things, where you can ask for pay as you drive. You can just purchase number of kilometers instead of purchasing a number of days policy. You can just go for number of kilometers policy, where let's say, okay, you're a 5,000 kilometer kind of person who drives 5,000 kilometers in a year. You go for that policy, you will have that policy at a different rate and different benefits, right? And health wise is something for people who are looking at get something from your health insurance, right? Who want to live a healthy life. So these customers get teleconsultations for free, and as a part of their policy. I'm not free per se, but as a part of their policy, and even other discounts and other let's say ambulance on call, or even let's say gym benefits. There are a lot of insurers who are supporting this, and this is kind of like, this is the next big thing, I think, from an health insurance perspective, which is coming on. I think that's all I had to say. I feel free to reach out to me if anybody has any questions. We can definitely. I would love to chat and answer those.